Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and today I am here to share another pocket recipe with you. This time we're going to begin working on the exterior of the bag, and we are going to craft a side pocket panel which has a little bit of piping at the top of that pocket. And you'll also notice this pocket is slightly angled, and what will happen when the bag is constructed is that pocket will jet out just slightly from the side of the bag. So that design element coupled with the piping is going to offer this tote a little interest as well as function, because the pocket's going to be very easy to access as a result of the piping and the angle. So shall we get started? So to craft the piping, you're going to need some cording, and this is available in cotton, polyester, and probably a blend as well. The one that I am using is actually just called decorative trim, and I found that at Hobby Lobby for $1.99, and it is 5/16 of an inch. We only need 20 inches, so I'm going to have a lot left over. I am considering adding the piping to the top of this bag as well. So if you do go ahead and buy this little bundle there, or a couple yards of the piping, we will probably be able to use that before we're finished with this project. And then in addition to that, you're going to need 2 strips of trim from which we'll craft the piping that measure 2 inches wide by 10 inches long. And this fabric needs to be cut on the bias. This gingham makes that really easy to do, because as opposed to looking like squares, the print now looks like diamonds. And the way that you can tell your fabric is cut on the bias is there's a lot of stretch to the material, whereas when it's not cut on the bias, you have very little stretch in that. So there are a lot of tutorials how to cut on the bias if you're not familiar. Because we just need these small strips, it will not be very difficult at all for you to practice a little, and you won't waste much fabric either. So go ahead and take this opportunity to learn how to cut on the bias if you do not know how. And then you're going to need 2 side exterior body panels for the bag, which measure 6 inches wide by 15 inches tall. And I have lined mine with a piece of quilt batting. You are welcome to use any type of interfacing you like. The actual pocket is crafted from 2 pieces of material which are 6 by 11 inches tall. I have this olive canvas or twill for the exterior, and then for the lining I have a like-sized piece of the gingham. So as you can see, I already have one of the side panels complete. I'm going to show you how to craft the second one, but for the bag you will obviously need 2 side panels to complete that. And I do hope that the bag will start to come together in next week's tutorial. I am still contemplating the exterior front and rear panels. We may incorporate some pockets into those too. So we're either 1 or 2 videos out from actually assembling the bag. I know some of you are already building your panels, and I'm sure you're as excited as I am to see this bag come together. I am particularly getting really excited now that I have finally located the red straps that I want to use for my handles. So it won't be too much longer. But today, like I said, we're going to make this pocket. So when you cut out your pocket panels, you're going to initially have rectangles. For the exterior of the pocket, which in my case is this 12, you're going to take that panel and fold it in half long ways and then slightly angle the top of that. Now, because I pre-crafted my other panel, I did not cut these both at the same time. You would, so that both pockets match, but I saved the little piece from mine so that I can achieve the same angle. So I'm just going to set that on the fabric and trim away just a little bit of that top of the pocket to give it a nice angle. There we go. And I want to say thank you to Sewspire patron and subscriber Suzette for giving me these amazing scissors. I really, really like them, Suzette. She is also responsible for giving me these clips, which I also really like, especially for this purpose. They're super handy. You only need to angle the exterior. You do not need to angle the pocket lining, all right? So for right now, we're just going to work with that exterior, which we have angled, and the cotton fabric, which is cut on the bias and is approximately 10 inches by 2 inches, and then a 10-inch strip of the cording. So you're going to position the cording in the center of the trim there that's cut on the bias, and then just enclose that. And that's where I really like these clips, because you can press them right down on the trim and get a seriously snug fit. So I have my cording nicely tucked inside of that trim. Now I'm going to adjust my needle position on my machine all the way left, and I'm actually going to set the foot of the machine on top of this cording, but I want the needle to fall just to the edge of the cording, and it is perfectly okay if you stitch a little into that cording. I did not have any problem whatsoever stitching through the 2 layers of fabric and the cording, but the objective is to just get a really nice close stitch right up against that cording. Okay, and now I have essentially created the piping. If you are using a fabric in which that stitching is going to be really obvious, I suggest using the transparent thread if you do not have thread that coordinates very closely to your trim piece there. Okay, then the next step is to take the raw edges of that piping trim and let them overlap the angled portion of the pocket. Okay, so here is the back side there, and you can see the trim from the piping, and you can see the raw edge of the piping overhanging that, which is essential. And then here is the front side. Now you're going to come back in, working from the front side, and try and stitch right on top of that original stitch line. And that's what it should look like on the back and then on the front. And so now when you turn that over, you can see how that pocket pushes out just a little bit, and that piping looks so beautiful. It just really finishes off that angle nice. So what we're going to do is position the pocket again, right sides facing up with that raw edge of the piping also facing up, and we're just going to position this pocket lining right on top of that, like facing, and I want it to come up and over that piping trim, and you can just put a few clips on the side there to hold that fabric in place. And then what we're going to do is, working from the back side so we can see, we're going to stitch just a little to the right of that original stitch line there to secure the lining to the pocket. Alright, so you don't have to fuss about the stitches being straight. They're likely to be curved because your foot is going to bump into that piping, but all you're trying to accomplish is to get that lining attached, and that's just, again, slightly to the right of that original stitch line, working from the back of this panel. Then you can remove your clips and go ahead and trim off your excess there. I kind of angle that piping on the side because you don't want to cut it too short and then risk having that cording exposed when you assemble the bag. So just leave at least a little extra there. And then rather than notching the corners, I just trim this up nice and neat there, about a 1/4 inch from that second stitch line. And I did not have much seam allowance to take off there. Again, I do not suggest that you notch any of this because we don't want that fabric to start shredding. So now when you turn this all around, you have a really nicely finished piped pocket, fully lined on the inside. And my stitches are well concealed because of this gingham, but again, if the stitches would bother you, that transparent thread would be very useful for this. You're never going to see them from the exterior of the pocket, but I know some of you might be disturbed by that, but again, that's why the transparent thread is so awesome. Okay, because of this angle, the pocket kind of has a tendency to shift. We do not want to iron much, but you can see if you just pull this nice and neat and again use some clips, that will hold in place. You're also welcome to run some stay stitching down the pocket on the raw edges there, and that is what I am going to do. I have my pocket finished, and now I just want to position that on the side pocket panel, which again is 6 by 15, and there's a little overhang at the bottom. After you get your pocket positioned on the panel, you can trim that up. And here you're just looking to make sure that both sides of the pocket are even. I'm coming in at 4.5 inches on each side from the top of that panel. Your measurements may be slightly different because each angle is going to be custom cut. And then I have, again, a really cute, fabulous pocket on the side panel for the exterior of the bag. I'm calling this Sewspire Recipe 3. If you are keeping a design book and coding that. If you are wondering about the black lines there, I was playing around trying to get this page to scan, and the scanner needed a little border. I don't have that completely worked out yet, but I'm going to still keep playing with that concept, and then hopefully soon I'm going to be able to give you pages from my design book which you can print. So I just have all of my measurements noted here. And then in keeping with our Sewspire tradition this year, I am going to give you a look through the design book. I'm going to back up a little bit to that page which I am adding various fabric swatches to. These are some of the camera strap covers that I've recently made, and I'm just eventually going to have a page just of fabric index, so that I thought was coming together nicely. I would love to hear how you all are attaching your fabric to the page. So if you want to leave me a comment about that, that would be wonderful. So this week I designed a medium camera bag. It turned out very nice. So you can access this image in the last edition of Behind the Seams if you head on over to sewspire.com. This was designed but not yet sewn for my friend and longtime Sewspire subscriber, Kathy, who is collecting large 18 by 18 inch tote bags for a quilting crafting club in Australia that is making quilts for those who have been impacted by the brush fires. And so we are going to be sending Kathy these large bags, and then she's going to forward those on to her friend in Australia, and the ladies will put a quilt in the bag, and then the bags will be repurposed and used as multi-purpose totes. And so I wanted to provide you all with just the basic measurements to sew this. I estimate it's going to take approximately 2 yards of fabric, and you will need 4 body panels which are cut 37 inches wide by 29 inches high, and then you will notch out 9-inch corners from the bottom right and left hand sides, and use the fat corner or notched corner method to create this approximately 18 inch by 18 inch tote for Kathy and the families in Australia. And again, if you would like more information or to participate in this, please head on over to sewspire.com. I'll link to that exact post in the details down below, and you can reach out to Kathy and coordinate the delivery of your bag. I thank you in advance for supporting this cause, and I want to offer a special thank you to Kathy for thinking of our creative community. And then today I just designed another tri-fold planner cover. You'll remember I talked about how badly I had messed up this design. So this was the original one, which I completely botched the pocket, and so I did come back and reference these measurements, and it was a lifesaver for the second one that I made, which went completely smoothly, no glitches whatsoever, and I was absolutely thrilled with that pleated pocket. Everything fit perfect the first time, and so I finished that today. Black base is going to offer her a lot of wear. And so that's all I've got to work on this week, because I've been keeping super busy with the ongoing master class. I am very excited to see everyone's bags come together that's participating in that. If you are interested in joining us, there are still a few spots left. I will put a link to the Sewspire Patreon page down below. If you're a fast sewer, I think you can still catch up. We're about halfway through the 4 weeks, and we're just starting now to design our own version of the stowaway. So that's really exciting. Super talented group of ladies. If for no other reason, it would be worth it for you just to see their gorgeous bags. So the instruction for that program takes place on Mondays at noon, And then we have a live chat on Thursday evening. So there's a lot of community involvement in this project. And as a Sewspire patron, you can participate in a new masterclass every quarter. So there will still be 3 more this year if you would prefer to start from the beginning. And as we get closer to the second AMC for 2020, I'll be sure to share that information with you all. So that's a wrap for this week. I hope you enjoyed this 3rd pocket recipe. This formula is working very well for me, and based upon the feedback and the comments, I think you all are enjoying it as well. I hope you are learning, and I hope you are looking forward to some more recipes in 2020. So until we meet again, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you all have a beautiful week.